Yeah, I just think one day that'd be tough, but I do really think about it.
We're recording. We can chat after.
You know, we're on.
We're just going live. Well, after Joe when he shows up. We'll start the meeting. Today is June 25th, 2025. This is the Environmental Advisory Committee meeting for the town of Cheektowaga. I will motion to call to order at 2:02. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next item up is minutes approval. Before we go into minutes approval, I am going to skip over the pledge today because we do not have a flag in the room. We have questions about where the flag went, and I have not had a response at this time. But I believe you have to have a flag in the room to say the pledge. So that is why we're skipping that today.
Open online.
I have enough windows on this screen open to manage. So with that said, I will motion to approve the minutes for 5/28. Can I get a second?
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Dan, I have a note here that at our last meeting, we tabled the minutes from April. I don't know if we need to, we'll readdress that or not.
I don't have that here, and I don't know if we've addressed those or if they were outstanding. So I will keep those tabled at this time.
Perfect, sounds good.
All right. Then the only item we have on today's agenda under old business is 2345 William Street. Seeking a zoning amendment and redevelopment of 282 Chrisfield and 0 Chrisfield under the lead project address of 2345 William, which would be merged into one parcel if the zoning amendment were to be granted and the site plan approved. Site plan is related to a 3,920 square foot administration building for the credit union at the corner. This project did have a public hearing last night. We do have representatives in the room for that project. I do have some comments that were brought up at last night's meeting that I would like to discuss with the developers, but I will turn the floor over to the developers at this time.
So good afternoon, Sean Hopkins. Also with me is Jason Utzig from CNS Engineers. I think this project was reviewed by during your meeting last month. That time you were not in a position to issue a recommendation because the lead agency response period had not yet expired. Basically, we're asking to rezone 2 parcels of the overall site from R to C to accommodate a slightly less than 4,000 square foot, largely administrative building for the credit union that exists on the site today. This will include their corporate headquarters, which is a good thing, being located in Cheektowaga versus other locations. I thought the town board hearing overall went relatively well. It seemed to be supportive. There was one woman on the street who's also an attorney who appeared as an interested property owner, not as an attorney representing someone else. She had some concerns about the thoroughness of the application, etc. Jason and I had the opportunity to meet with her in the hall after the town board hearing. I literally handed her a copy of the application, and she seemed like she did not have any concerns relative to the project, not in communication with her. So we're hoping, given that this project clearly won't result in any potentially significant adverse environmental impacts, that you could recommend issuance of a negative declaration by the town board. The town board did leave the public hearing open. We'll be going back in front of them. I think their next meeting is Tuesday, July 8th. Other than that, no one spoke in opposition. The town board also was provided with an email that Dan received, I believe, from the adjoining property owner to the south on Chrisfield. She expressed a wide range of concerns. We've expressed a willingness to meet with her, but we have designed this to accommodate the fact that there is a single family home next door. We're not showing any lighting along that common property line. We have a setback of slightly less than 30 feet. We're showing some pretty intensive green space or green intensive landscaping along with a solid 6-foot tall board on board fence. So from her perspective, I just don't see there being any adverse impacts. With that being said, if she wants to meet, she has any ideas, that would be fine. We're also not proposing any additional curb cuts in connection with this project.
You're actually
Right.
moving 2 curve cuts.
Right. So I think it's a pretty innocuous project. And I think it's actually a good thing for the town of Cheektowaga. It cleans up this assemblage and again, ultimately the site.
And then,
Did I say the parcels would be merged?
yes, yeah, my understanding the parcels would be.
That's what, yep, that's our understanding as well.
The,
Is there a concern about that, Pat?
Well, because one of the questions I was gonna raise is whether or not we could put like conditions on the rezoning.
Oh, thank you. So the issue came up last night. Thank you. I forgot to address that. So if you look at the C zoning classification, first of all, it incorporates everything within the NS and then has a wide range of expressly allowable uses, including hotels, motels. So what I offered to the town board last night, the town attorney seemed in agreement, is that we would propose a zoning condition that would restrict the future use of the site, meaning if and ever Empire decides to sell the property, that the range of allowable uses would be very limited to stuff that I would be compatible and innocuous in terms of neighborhood impacts.
That's kind of where I was going
Yeah,
with this.
well, we're fine with that.
Okay.
And we've done that in the past.
is it done under a covenant,
A deed restriction.
deed restriction?
Because obviously with the
And we have a town attorney that will review them now.
credit union, don't get me wrong, it's essentially a Monday through Friday business. If they do it Saturday hours, it's probably closed.
Limited, right? And the administrative office will have to know
It's,
what they are.
yeah, it's a quiet operation. So one of the concerns I had is, let's say 10 years down the road, the credit union is not doing well, they sell the
Right,
property.
they sell, right.
Yeah,
No, with the use on the site, one of the things that was brought up last night, and I have to say, I agree with this point, was what type of records are being stored there? Is it, are they data banks?
Yeah, so do you have the floor? Jason,
So that was,
That was my question too, and even security systems and audible alarms, things like that.
we'll have that, but if you actually look at the floor plan, the storage, the record storage area is very, very small.
so that brings up my other point. I spoke with a resident that had questions for you afterwards as well. And she showed me that she had a set of elevations and plans that you had brought with you to share with residents that had interest. I don't have those in the files.
Okay, and I didn't have them in my files, the floor plans.
Yeah, the floor
The
plans,
elevations,
those
yeah.
elevations, I don't have those.
Okay, they're attached to our application.
So maybe
She claimed that when she went online, the only thing that was online in terms of the application was just the first page.
it should be more than that.
I know, but that's what she told. I haven't verified, but that's what told Jason and I.
So I have this application with the supporting documents and maybe it's in here and
It
the
is.
site plan is separate. Okay, so let's see what we got here, maybe.
I know we submitted the elevation plans, but I'm not sure we did submit formally the floor plans. Jason, I don't know if you know. If not, we will. Jason had a copy last night. We gave them to her. They might be in the development plan application if they're not in the.
There's one that didn't load, let's see if that was it.
Or the development plan application.
So this is, I just have your application and supporting documents, which was both applications in the full set.
Okay.
So we'll need those if you want that part of the record.
Yeah, we do. So you don't think you have the elevation plans either?
No, so this is the transmittal I have.
Okay. So we'll provide elevation plans and floor plans. How many copies do you need? Yeah.
6 sets.
Okay. And then what I'll do separately is I'm going to do a letter with the draft of the declaration of restrictions.
Okay.
You'll be included in that.
Now, the floor plan I did see, it did show, I think you're anticipating 4 to 3 full-time staff members.
Right.
It seemed to be that there was more offices than,
Way more. Yeah. The record storage looked like it was literally paper storage. Oh, you have it?
Was there a reason for more offices? Are you anticipating more employees than?
Well, I think that they obviously, this is a bank branch this is a credit union that wants to grow.
Okay.
So, as it goes over time, their goal is for the next 20, 30 years, this would be if all goes well, their office. We do have the floor plan there. They want us to look at it. I want to bring it over.
So that's intended to be the like regional.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a little file storage area. And it's not data, it's not a data center.
Okay.
So this is just paper stuff.
Yeah, just paid.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it.
So I guess what you're saying is their electronic files are all stored on
Yeah.
site. There's not gonna be like a
No, data.
large electrical draw or cooling system.
No.
Yeah, so this would be their loan officers, their CEO, their CFO. Back end. And I can't envision there's any reason why a quote customer would ever come here. Someone's coming to meet with the CEO of the company because they have a huge transaction, of course that could happen, generally speaking.
Yeah, limited.
And credit unions typically don't do those deals.
Any other comments or questions from anybody?
Just one, I hope I'm not getting this wrong. I thought the county had written something about potentially a bus stop, and you were gonna ask about that to the owners and see if that was something that they would consider.
Yeah, so we did ask our clients and their preferences that they not be required to do that. I think they'd be willing to accommodate it, but
Okay.
I mean, they don't want to pay for installing a bus shelter on the site.
And then there's a question.
And I don't know where the nearest bus shelters are for that.
Sorry to interrupt. I did do some digging, and I believe that the NFTA maintains everything. I think they take over. And from what I could find online from the NFTA site, it does look like that if they put something in, they would be on the hook.
They pay for it, right?
Yeah, I think, well,
Good. I mean, they want their specs, their
I would think so too.
accessibility.
I
mean, someone can ask for clarification on that.
And they
There it
were
is.
very adamant not having it on their property.
okay,
If it's in the right of way and it's out of their control, but they don't want it on their property.
okay.
And the county's comments are that they, encourage the addition, but it's not a requirement.
I think there might be a bus stop already right near the corner.
That's what I was trying to.
I think it's on a different corner though. I'm not saying that they couldn't.
I think just on the other side.
And again, this particular project's not going to increase the demand for public transportation.
No.
It's, CO's not riding a bus.
And then to your point last night, was there any other comments on this project? The New York State DOT did issue comments on the 28th, and I know that's forwarded out to your group. Just identifying that they're okay with us as lead agency, and any work related in the right away would need a work permit.
Yeah, and I don't foresee any.
I don't,
Yeah.
No. And if this,
Chrisfield.
and if this actually didn't include the rezoning, it'd be a type 2 action. We wouldn't even be here. Because we're less than that 4,000.
4,000, yeah.
Yeah. Since it involves a rezoning, it is subject to seeker.
Dan, can you go to a street view
Sure.
from Tar? I'm sorry, what?
Well, there's the site now. Obviously pre-construction.
I thought that when me and Drew were out there recently to look at something at the site, that there were two people waiting for a bus. There was
There
It might be a thing.
is a stop
near Chrisfield before you get to Chrisfield.
right here, right before Chrisfield.
Oh, right across the street.
No, that's.
No, that's on the same side.
Oh, yeah.
So that would be right about here.
Yep.
I know last night, supervisor brought up at the dumpster area, there's a grade change.
Right.
Has there anything been filed with engineering at this time related to?
No, so we have not submitted fully engineered plans again, because if we didn't get the rezoning,
Sure.
I mean, Jason, given the homework you've done so far, do you envision there's any specific challenges related to topography grading?
No, it's not even a challenge, but it's just gonna be, they're gonna have to dig up some of that pavement where the dumpster is in front or around the dumpster to tie the stormwater into that underground detention system. There might need to be a connection from the building to that detention system where we'll tie it into surrounding stormwater pipes, but it'll be worked out.
And that's the existing one you're referring to, and that you can, that has capacity at this time.
We might have to add on to it. Here's the existing stormwater detention system with the footprint of it. So whether we add in here, or, we add in, rip up that pavement and add some detention there, but it's all connected. Or we can even put it in the lawn area and just tie it in. Underground.
It's probably about 0.15 acres of impervious surface, right?
Should be much.
Including the rooftop.
Dan, what was the concern you said was mentioned at the meeting last night?
The grade change from here to there. The concern last night was about expressing to the residents that vehicles can't go from Harlem to Chrisfield. Currently, as the site conditions present themselves, they're definitely not gonna be able to go through a building, at least not easily.
Right. Not going through the building, it's all landscaping around there.
Right.
I think it'll be a nice improvement.
So,
I don't disagree. To the committee members in the room, is there any additional thoughts, comments at this time?
Well, I would motion that we recommend it. I seek for the rezone.
Okay,
Do I have a second?
I will second that with one question. You're including the site plan as well as part of that?
Sure.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll follow up on the topics we discussed.
I know the public hearing still. Issues.
I don't think there's gonna be anything. There was that one person who spoke, I think Jill said she's fine.
Right, and under, with it being a recommendation, I believe we still have the ability, if there's any strong points that are, need to be reviewed.
Oh, sure,
We
yeah.
can bring it back up.
Yeah.
At the next meeting.
So Dan, does that mean when we ask for rezoning approval, we're asking for development plan approval subject to engineering department?
Yeah, it
Submit the
would
base
be a
plans.
condition
Yeah,
that the plans, the grading and drainage plans and. Depending on how we word it, we might just word it, engineered plans,
yeah, that's what I would
be
say.
part of the condition of the approval.
Yeah,
Once those get filed, if there's any changes, then that would go back before the planning board for
right.
consideration of the amendment. And then back to the town board for final consideration of that amendment, if there's a strong break in the drawings
Right,
from.
right. A big issue comes up. Okay. Think we're good. We'll get you the elevation plans and floor plans. What?
For July,
July,
town board meeting.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the hearing's left open. Great. All right, everyone have a good day.
All right, you as well.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, there's no items under new business, so I will call to adjourn this meeting at 2:21. Can we get a second?
I'll second, all in favor?
Aye.
The vote on.